That day was a Tuesday. Pretty soon it come time to go over there to St. John's for the steak fry.
It was an annual steak fry that the Knights of Columbus have out at Piasta, Iowa, St. John's Church.
We went over there and got our steaks, sat down and ate. There was a big crowd there, and I looked across the table from me, the next table, and I see this gentleman having a problem, and I nudged my wife and I says, that man needs help.
I was reaching over and pounding on my wife and going like this, and Larry was sitting a table away from me.
You act on instinct. So my first thought was to get over there and help him, because I saw his poor wife pounding on his back, and he was starting to lean over and crouched over, and so I got over there and I started doing the Heimlich on him. I told him, I says, just relax. I grabbed him, I said, don't take any deep breaths, just relax. I grabbed a hold of him and I started doing the Heimlich, and I was watching my wife, who was directly across me at that other table. I says to her, anything? She said, nothing.
Reached around behind me, chair and all, and gave me the big pull with the Heimlich.
And then I did it again. She says, oh, you got a little water. You got some water.
It didn't work the first time, but then he did it again, and the steak was dislodged.
Poor man, he stood up or sat up as best he could, and he looked at me and he says, oh man, he says, I thought I was a goner. But it's just something that he had, something that went down and swallowed it and couldn't get it back up.
I'm sure that within a few minutes or seconds I'd been laying down on the floor, and then some people would have noticed me. But it happened so quick, and Larry was there. I think very few people even knew what happened that night.
You don't know when you're going to be the one on call. You might be the only one there, and this person, what are you going to do? I guess I always think back, if this window turned out so well, how would I feel now? Especially when there's a crowd of people there. Maybe there was somebody else in that auditorium that could have done well, but the gentleman, like he said, nobody at my table even got up or even noticed, he said. Well, I've been a blood donor for years, and I've always been the Red Cross, and working with the Farley American Legion, and they've always sponsored blood drives. So I've been giving blood all the time. So it came down to when I did retire in '09, I thought, well, you know, I could get involved in some of that. And I tried different things, and I always went back to the Red Cross because they could always use some help doing something. People don't realize that the Red Cross, what they really do, you know, that when there's a fire call, firemen, they get who the firemen call? The Red Cross. Somebody overseas, they have to get home, there's something going on back at the family. Who gets a hold? The Red Cross gets a hold of them. It's not just a blood organization, you know, there's so many other things that you can't even begin to mention.
I know Larry through his work in hosting blood drives with the Red Cross, and I'm also volunteering on disaster and being on our biomed committee. So I've known Larry for almost 3 years. It feels like I've known him forever, and that's in a good way, Larry.
When I was first introduced to Larry, we were from the same area out in Epworth, Piasta, and Larry, came with a big packet of about 15 years, I don't know, maybe 50 years worth of blood drive history from his drive. And you need to go to one of Larry's blood drives to understand the person he is, because he's humble. He does not ever take 1 ounce of gratitude from someone else, because it's as soon as you do that, he'll tell you, it's not me, it's everybody around me, that all my volunteers who deserves the credit.
He comes in and raises and lowers our flag at half-staff. He does home fire campaign where he goes and installs free smoke alarms for us. He just will help in any way that you possibly can.
He is a 100% true hero in my book, and he's a friend to all of us in the Red Cross community, and everywhere. Larry's a friend to everyone.
I think the world could use a lot more Larrys. He just believes he's here to do what he can do and help, and that's Larry.
The fact that he actually saved a life from a choking incident, Larry's just that type of person.
Guys like me don't know much about this. I can tell you how to make a toy, but I can't tell you how to save a life. Well, I just say, give him a hug and say, thank you, Larry. You've given me extra life.